Hey coaches, welcome back in. Thanks for joining me on this middle school air raid webinar series. My name is Matt Lasker, and I appreciate you being here. Today we are going to get into 3 quick game plays, but we're going to do it a little different on this go around. Today I just want to focus on 4 verts because it's a little different, but it is the way that we start implementing our offense. So in a perfect world, we will spend, if we have enough time, that whole first day just on 4 verts. So I just kind of want to do the same with you coaches to emphasize how this one play kind of sets the table for the rest of our quick game plays, okay? So we'll get started with 4 verts. All right, coaches, before we get started on that, I want to always just kind of start off by making sure we just check a few boxes here. Number 1, of course, this is on YouTube probably for you, so please, please, please subscribe below to my channel. Really appreciate you guys chiming in and collaborating with me, but I just need those subscriptions to get up there. Trying to break 1,000 right now. Obviously, if you appreciate these videos or if you can send them to other people and they might appreciate them, give me a thumbs up right now. Really want to make sure that we hit that YouTube algorithm so more coaches can know that this option's out there. And just again, guys, we want to make sure that everyone out there knows we are doing this to educate coaches out in the coaching community. Not everyone understands that they can run spread at the youth and middle school level. Even high school, we see a lot of high schools still running the ball primarily because they just don't know how to take that step into spread football. So as many coaches as we can, spread the love. Let's get these out there so people can have A to Z, everything they need to know to run air raid. And lastly, I want to make sure everyone goes to whistle.com, whistle without the I. Whistle.com is the pulse of the online coaching community. Again, we have coaches just like you going in there and putting their version of mesh. We have over 18 versions of mesh on whistle.com without the I. We have 17 versions of corner. Right now, our community is working together to attack stick, and we're trying to build it out so everyone can use that to supplement what we're doing on with this series, or supplement anything that you're doing out there to educate yourself on football. And then, of course, guys, get with me on all of these different mediums for social media so we can converse and talk. All right, awesome. Well, let's get into it. As we said, we are in the 3 quick game plays, but again, I wanted to break out all verts separately because I think it's that important that we do that. So let's get into it. So as you can see on the screen, we are in our 2x2 set, and we have called 4 verticals. The way that we'll work it is I'll show you the diagram here, take you out to show you some film, and then come back and show you another formation. Some of these I'm going to give you a look for 1 high safety versus 2 high safety because there are some different rules for that. We primarily see 1 high safety 95% of the time. So we'll start with that, but I want to give you guys that play against 2 high safeties the blueprint to go ahead and execute this play the way it should be executed. Okay, so before we get into all that, I want to just level set and mention to you that we have a couple hard rules that we really need the entire team to understand, okay? So number 1, when we call 4 verticals or 4 verts or all verts, or sometimes we flash 6, that's from Hal Mummy because that's how many points you're going to score when you call this play. We want our receivers and quarterbacks to be thinking to themselves and speaking to themselves, essentially. We want our quarterbacks coming up to the line of scrimmage, asking themselves, who is open right now? And we want our receivers to all come up to the line of scrimmage, asking themselves, when am I open? We're going to define how you are open or not open by the defender that is covering that receiver, okay? So if the defender that is covering a receiver, like this cornerback is covering this L, is 7 yards off or more, all right? 7 yards off or more, the receiver is going to run a 3-step stick. If the defender is within those 7 yards, the receiver is going to run an outside release go, and we really want them to restack, okay? So again, this cornerback is up about 10 yards off. This receiver is going to run a 3-step stick. This H sees this will that's covering them up at about 5 yards. So he again is going to run an outside release go and restack and try to get back on the hashes. Okay. This Sam, let's just say, is within 5 yards. So this Y knows that he is running a outside release go. The grass is back here. It's open. And the R, since the cornerback is more than 7 yards off, is going to run a 3-step stick. So we want these receivers understanding where the open grass is, okay? Open grass for L is down here in this little 3 to 5 yard mark. Open grass for H and Y is back here over the top of these flat defenders, okay? And open grass for the R is in this little space here, okay? So the quarterback comes up to the line of scrimmage. He's asking himself, who was open now? The answer to that question is both L and R are open right now. And with that, he can choose which one he wants to throw to, but it is not a choice if he gets to throw the vertical or the stick. If there is one person that is open now, pre-snap, and again, this is all done pre-snap, he's going to turn, get the ball, and fire the ball out there to the 3-step stick. It is not an option. It is mandatory that we take all of these free yards every chance they give it to us, okay? Take the free yards, guys. This is just easy money, easy yards. And most of the time, you'll see some crazy things happen in the youth and middle school level. Usually, these cornerbacks are where they hide some of their smaller, not the best players. So then, we have one of our best receivers out here on an island catching a 3-step stick with this cornerback who's maybe not the best player on their team against one of our best players with the ball in their hand. And now they're one-on-one, and that's when crazy things can happen on a 3-step throw. It can break for a long pass, okay? So the running back is going to swing to a side. Quarterback, we'll work that out, but essentially he's swinging. So again, if anyone is open pre-snap, when the quarterback looks, he's going to go ahead and take that shot. So in this scenario, when the quarterback comes up the line and goes, who is open now? He's scanning from left to right. That's what we teach our quarterbacks, scan from left to right. Where's the cornerbacks? Where's the safeties? Where's this cornerback? He sees these cornerbacks are down. So the receivers know the open grass is behind. And the Y knows the open grass is behind. But this H, you see this, guys, is uncovered. Okay? So he's going to run a 3-step stick, catch the ball, and get up the alley as quickly as possible. Some people, might say, just run a go and I'll hit you. Again, in youth and middle school, guys, I'm going to take the guaranteed money. This H is one of our best athletes by rule. So if he can catch a 3-step stick, I'll take the 5 yards easy. And I'll tell you what, this guy can make some things happen. So if this Will is slow to get over because he's worried about the run, it's still the same thing, but I've guaranteed myself an easy throw within it, okay? So pretty simple, but we just have rules, right? So depending on if they're on 7 yards closer or 7 yards deeper, we call it the 7-yard rule, and all of our players kind of know the 7-yard rule. And this will come into play with the other quick game passes, guys, okay? Okay, great. So that's how we handle it. If some people are back on one high safety, we are going to take the easy money every time. Now, if they come up and everyone's up and it's still in a one high, so this is more like a cover one look, right? Which we did see a little bit as well. So if this is cover one, everyone knows that their grass is deep, but now we have some built-in progressions for the quarterback because there's not just easy money to take, okay? So in this play, we want the quarterback to make this safety wrong. And how are we going to do that? We're going to read the play, the progression, H to Y to F, okay? H to Y to F. We want to throw this. We want to throw this H, and we want to throw it on a relatively hard on a line at about 10 to 12 yards, okay? So as this H clears the will, there's going to be a opening right about here, and that's where we would love to execute this throw, okay? But the quarterback is going to know where to throw it by how the free safety reacts, okay? So if this free safety, as quarterback snaps it, his eyes need to be on the free safety. And we definitely have drills for this. If the safety drops straight back or to their left, straight back or to their left, we are banging this, for lack of a better term, this whole shot. Because I want you to understand that it can't be a big looping, arcing throw. It doesn't have to be strictly on a line, but it's a pretty good shot in there. We can't have too much air on this. So up, if he goes back, or to his left, we are throwing to the H. We want to throw the H. If they get sick of seeing that and he starts creeping over to the H, then we simply go to the Y. Okay, just running the same thing on the other side. Now, if they rotate over and they get sick of seeing this, we always have this F. Okay, always have this F. So in youth and even in high school, guys, we've seen it in high school. People don't really stay with backs, especially if they're the third progression. Worst case, you go to the F. But really, guys, I'm going to show you a clip here in a second that we always, always, always try to make somebody wrong in our offense in all verts, single high safety. Single high safety, it is the safety that we are trying to make wrong. The other quick game plays, you'll see it's usually the overhang defenders, but in a single high look, running 4 verticals, we are throwing these seams and we are making that safety wrong, okay? So real quick, let's go over to 4 verticals against a 2 high look. And if we have 2 high, you guys probably know, most likely they're going to be in cover 2 where these corners will be down. And so by rule, the open grass again is behind, okay? But instead of picking on the single high safety because they are in 2 high, we can't really pick on him that way. The quarterback's going to come to line of scrimmage, scan left to right, really see, okay, cornerbacks are up. You got 2 safeties. This cornerback is up. All the grass is behind. So now against 2 high look, the quarterback's going to pick a side. And if all things are equal, we're going to pick the side that has the cornerback that is closer down. Okay, so in this scenario, we want to attack this side first because this cornerback is closer to the line of scrimmage than this guy. And what we're going to do is pick a side and read it outside, inside, swing. Okay, now if this cornerback was closer, we would move this running back over to this side to swing over here. Okay, quarterback has to do that, so he has that triple option, triple threat on every passing play that we do. But this cornerback's down closer, so we're going to attack it. And the way we're going to attack it is we want to throw this go, guys. We want to throw this restack go. If this L, when the quarterback gets to his back foot, if he gets even or even close to being even with the cornerback, and definitely if he gets even with them or past them, we're going to throw that L, okay? We're going to throw that go route, nice and easy, pat and go. You guys will get good at pat and go. That's a drill we do every day to work on these kind of go balls or fade routes, depending on the situation. But we want to throw this, okay? If this cornerback bails out quickly, we have this H who knows he's capped, right? So let's define capped. A capped receiver. A capped receiver means that there is somebody is too deep to get past. So if this receiver, and this receiver, by the way, look up and there's 2 high safeties and they know in 3 seconds they can't get over the top of him, that means he's capped, right? That means that receiver is capped. And so with that, the receiver has to be smart enough to know where the grass is, okay? So this Will is here, so he can't sit here, but what he can do is outside release and sit in front of the safety and behind the Will. So it's almost like a little hunt route. We don't want him to cross the field, but if he can kind of run this little dig right here in between, there's a window, easy throwing window from the quarterback in, okay? So it's the same thing with the Y on 2 high safety look, okay? So we're going outside, inside, so we'll take a look at the L. We'll throw it if we can. If not, that should have given the H time enough to find this little dig route, about 8 10 yards in front of the safety, behind the will, and the quarterback, that's a nice, easy throw right in their line of sight. And of course, as always, if anything gets squirrely or if you feel uncomfortable at all, we always have this F. And as you can see, this will, a lot of times, will turn and chase, which which leaves nobody out here to cover the running back, okay? All right, so hopefully that makes sense. Two high safeties, we are going to pick a side, primarily pick it by which cornerback is up closer. If they're even, then, you know, you work with the quarterback to know which side is better to pick on. Obviously, if you can find a weak cornerback to attack, that's always the preference, okay? All right, great. So next thing I want to show you real quick is our early all verts, which is a 3x1 set. As you can see, there's not much difference here, okay? So as we kind of come up to the line of scrimmage, again, if anybody is 7 yards off or more, the quarterback doesn't have an option. It's mandatory. This guy is running a 3-step stick at this point because this cornerback is way back. The quarterback's going to turn, throw it out there, and find some success. He can choose whichever one he wants here. They both are open by rule. Now, if they are all down and everybody's covered up, we are still always going to be picking on somebody, guys. You're going to see that in every one of these videos. So really, it's the same exact read. This is against a single high safety. We find the safety who is kind of shaded over. We see this all the time. And we make them wrong. And so H is running a bender in front of him, trying to get to the opposite hash. And important that he runs in front of this safety. The Y is running up the seam and kind of bending it behind the safety. So it's almost like they're mutually kind of running benders in front and behind him. If you need to just have this an easier route, he can just run up the seam. It's really the same thing. But again, if this safety goes back or to his left, we are throwing this H, and this is a home run shot. If this safety comes down and tries to shut off this bender in front, then guess who's wide open? The Y. Okay, so it's the same read, guys. H to Y to F. Okay, and you can have him run an angle route, which is very popular in this 3x1 set, or he can run a swing, or he can run even a swing to the play side. Totally up to you, but the progression is the same. And these progression guys, we want these quarterbacks to tell us. And we walk through practice looking for quarterbacks randomly. Hey, progression on all verts when everyone's down. H, Y, F. Okay, H, Y, F, coach. And that's how fast they got to say their progression to us. Okay, so in 3x1, it's the same progression. We're still picking on the same person. We are still progressing the same way. H, Y, F. Okay, and late all verts, same thing. Just the other way, we got this cornerback to pick on, or this safety to pick on, sorry. Again, we are always going to take the free, easy money if they happen to be back, but they're not in this, okay? And the last way I'll show it to you is out of our 2-back green set. This is pretty effective. If you have a good O-line and you can hang out long enough for this H to get down this seam, these guys have no idea what's going on if you can handle if you can get your O-line to block long enough, because this guy coming down the seam from the backfield is something that absolutely is not seen at this youth or middle school level. I don't even know how many people run that in high school, okay? So I'm going to stop screen sharing for 2 seconds. Now I'm going to get to my videos here. And we're just going to do a couple clips. I don't want to get into it too long. I'm, again, trying to make these videos short enough to where you can kind of pop in and out of them, okay? So here we go. As you can see, we are in our open set. Quarterback comes up to the line of scrimmage, and he's asking himself, who's open right now? The receivers are asking themselves, when am I open, okay? So this guy is about 8 yards off, so he's going to run a stick by rule, guys. We rep this so much that there's no reason to call an audible. There's no reason to do anything except do what you're supposed to do. These guys know the rules. This guy's outside release, restack up the seam. This guy's only 5 yards off, so it's outside release, restack up the seam. And this guy is trying to do the same because he's not 7 yards off. So if everything works out well, this quarterback needs to have scanned the field. We got this cornerback off more than 7 yards. We got single high safety. This cornerback is about 6 or so. So he knows this is the guy to throw it to. Nice and easy, pitch and catch. That's first and 10. Now it's 2nd and 8. Okay, you see how simple that is. Okay, so here we go again. We are in our 3-by-1 set. Quarterback scans left to right. We got this receiver and corner. This corner is about 10 yards off. Single high safety. This corner is about 5 to 6 yards off. Everyone else is pressed up. So who's open right now, quarterback? Pre-snap. This guy's open right now. And it's mandatory. You don't get the option to choose. If someone is in that space, you give him the ball. He's one of our better athletes. Let him go to work. And as you can see, guys, this is what happens. In youth and middle school, the cornerbacks are not typically the best players on the field. You usually put them at linebacker, outside linebacker, DN, something like that, middle linebacker. But you have advantages out there, guys. And even in high school, you have advantages out there, okay? So I wanted to show this one because it's kind of one of those tweeners where this guy's 5 yards, so he's outside release, restack, same, outside release, restack. This guy at the top, outside release, restack. This one is one of those weird ones. So he's like right at about 7. He's like 6.5, okay? So if you can get the chemistry down, this play, if you can learn this play the right way, it can evolve. And these players can really get into sync with each other. Even though it's not like 5 yards, turn in, go, put your hands up. And it's a little bit less by the book. But you can see, we've taught these receivers, you're pressing up. If it's in between, we're going to press up hard. And if you get to a point where you are capped and you can't get over the top of him, and you got to feel that clock for the quarterback, 3 to 4 seconds tops, you can still break it off here. It doesn't only have to be a 3-step stick. Now, I wouldn't start by teaching it this way, but I just want to show you how the chemistry, once you get these guys working together, how the chemistry can turn this play into something where you can just pick up 7 yards pretty much every play, guys. It's just like if they're playing on this out in the street. The question is, if you're just playing on the street or in the park, when would you stop running? If you're running and somebody's beating you to where you're trying to get deep, wouldn't you stop? Okay, so it's the same type of thing, guys. We're trying to let these kids use their innate abilities to make them even better, okay? So here we are back in our 2-by-2 set. Everyone's pushed up within 7 yards, about 5 to 6 for everybody. There is a safety here. So we are in our 2-by-2 set. So everybody is going, but if you remember, our read is H to Y. We got our slot Y in to F, who's swinging for us this year, okay? So this safety, if he goes back or to his left, the quarterback's going to throw a nice, not a huge lollipop. Obviously, you need a little bit of air, but he's going to read it. That guy clears the linebacker, hit him right up the seam. He's off to the races. Right up the seam. Safety is not over there quick enough, and that's curtains. Okay. All right, a couple more, and then we'll get you out of here. I wanted to show you another one where he's reading the safety. I want you guys to notice his head. Watch the quarterback's eyes, please, because he looks to H, just like he's supposed to. When that gets shut down, he comes back to Y. So watch his eyes. They go left. When he sees that shut down, he comes back right. It's wide open. And that's lucky enough to have a Y that season that could stand up in the slot or put his hand in the ground. And then we started getting into the season, guys, and people didn't really know what to do with us. That safety is down right now. There's no high safety. They thought they can just blitz us to death, which is a bad idea. If you have a quarterback that has any poise at all in a line that can hold up, same thing. They brought all the safeties down to try to cover these guys. If we just can get the time, there's no way that these DBs can stay with our best athletes time and time again. Okay. All right, great. So that's it, fellas. We're going to move off of all verts. Comment below if you have any questions at all on it. I wanted to break this one out separately so we can focus on this by itself and then move on to the other quick game plays as a group. Sorry, stop screen share. All right, great. So again, if you haven't, subscribe to the channel down below so you can be in line to get the next one. Like this video if it helped you at all. Like it if you want to send it to somebody else. And then guys, go to whistle.com so we can collaborate together and use that to make this experience that much more effective, and you'll get that much more information. We got coaches from all over the country adding in their versions of mesh, their versions of verts, their versions of corner, all of that. So go to whistle.com without the I. And in the meantime, let's just keep spreading the word so we can get more and more coaches to run the spread, bring the participation numbers back to the youth and middle school levels, and make sure that we have the best coaches teaching our young men and women out there, okay? All right, fellas, we'll see you on the next one.